Yo, what is going on today, everybody, and welcome back to another Fortnite Chapter 4 video. Today I'm going to be breaking down my best fights in Chapter 4 Champions Division Arena. So not only will I be going over different types of fighting techniques that I think you need to learn to take your game to the next level, but I also have 5 wins in this video from Champions Division Arena that I'm going to be explaining what was going through my mind so that you guys can also win more matches in Champions Arena. From the bottom of my heart, thank you guys so much for all of the amazing recent support here on the YouTube channel. If you want more tips and tricks videos, then be sure to subscribe, as well as turning on the notification bell so you don't miss a single video here on the channel, as well as using code JCMYT in your Fortnite item shop. This video is divided into 2 chapters. Chapter 1 is going to be mid-game fights, and Chapter 2 is going to be the final 1v1. I'm going to do my best to have a balanced amount of both so that you guys can take a ton of tips out of this video. So let's begin with Chapter 1 of this video, and let's look at some of these mid-game fights and some of the techniques that you can be practicing to go pro. In this first fight, I noticed this guy was hammering, so I take out my SMG and get 50 easy damage on him. Notice how I don't hammer in immediately, and I'm just slowly approaching his box, chipping down his wall HP, trying to make him nervous so that he can't get off his heels. However, he makes this edit play and deals 150 damage to me with a pump shot, so immediately I'm looking to expand and to make space so that I can have a chance to get some heals off. I end up getting off 1 mini, and I also had Danger Hero, so I'm up to 125, and I'm continuously expanding to make more space. This player has infinitely better ping than me and takes my wall almost first try every single try, so you'll notice I'm panicking a little bit. I try to make even more space, but unfortunately I end up pushing into this rock, so in my mind the best play was to just hammer out of there and find a new spot to set the fight up. And again, he ends up taking my wall first try. Even though he took this wall first try, here's what won me this fight. As you'll notice, I'm trying to lean to one side of the box so that if that did happen, I can get out quicker and reset that wall. He ends up spraying through with his SMG, not a bad play on his end because metal when it first builds is very weak. But in this situation, the best thing that you can sometimes do is to just go for a big damage pump. That's exactly what I did. You can never practice your aim too much no matter how good of a player you are, especially if your opponent has such better ping than you that they're taking walls first try every single time. Sometimes the best answer is to just hit a big damage pump shot. Moving on into the next fight, this guy is sitting in a bush and decides to shoot at my box, so I open to get some tags on him, cracked his shield through the bush. As you notice, when I land next to his box, I am diagonal to where he is. He's also building in wood, so notice how I just sit back and pressure with my mythic pistol. I'm not jumping into his box, exposing my body to him. I'm just dealing good pressure from a couple boxes away, essentially not allowing this guy to get too many heals off. I attempt to go take his wall and I don't succeed at that, but right here I'm going to put this in slow motion so you don't miss it. I'm watching this opponent and I know that since he sees my cone is edited, he's not going to want to take a shot anymore, and since it's in wood, what I do here is I perfectly time it to where I reset my cone at the exact moment he resets his wall, and I replace his wall with mine using my mythic pistol. This was all about the timing. I feel like that this clip was a great example of playing patient while box fighting and making your opponent stress out more than they want to. Going into this next fight, I don't start off with a big damage lead. So as you guys saw, I shot him with my pistol, and when I noticed I didn't do a ton of damage, the first thing that I think to do is to build a 2x1. Doing this gives me more space to move around while fighting him and to get more angles. When this player drops down to try to take my wall, he doesn't even build a box around him. So what I try to do right here is look for an angle he isn't expecting, and as you notice, I'm dragging these cones over his head, trying to piece and box him. Since he ends up avoiding that, what I do is build another box or two just to give myself more room to control this fight. This player does the same thing. He drops down right in front of the box and tries to take the wall, but right here I play a right hand peek on this wall. I make a quick edit and I get a pump shot off on this guy, and as soon as I hit that pump shot, I'm doing the same thing again. I'm dragging these cones over the top of his head. And this time it actually ends up working. I fully boxed this player, and since it was on a very low ground layer, from that point when I boxed him, it was pretty much GG's. As long as I hit my shots and have good aim, I will win this fight every single time. Moving on along, let's go ahead and let's begin chapter 2 of this video, and let's talk about the final 1v1. I have 5 different wins that I'm about to show you, and I'm going to be going over exactly what was going through my mind and how I won each of these 5 games. So for the first end game, we have 2 people alive, and I have no heals in my inventory. He lands lands directly in front of me and hits me for a lot of damage, but luckily, again, I have the Danger Hero perk, and even though I know there's a guy on the front of zone already, I hammer ahead. Once they ended up fighting and one of them dies, I noticed that the guy on height was on wood, so I try to chop him out, and shortly after that, I realized that he hammered, and I immediately hammered when I heard him hammer. I land pretty close to him, I hit a good pump shot, and I end up piece controlling him and getting the win. Without Danger Hero, I probably would have been toast in this game, so definitely take that perk when you can, but what won me this fight was how I timed my hammer to go immediately after the other guy hammered. That way I could land on him right as he was landing, which allowed me to get easier piece control and then win the final 1v1. Moving on into the second win, I'm on low ground and I'm also on the very front of zone. I pretty much wait until Storm touches me to hammer ahead again. There are two people alive and I see this guy, I try to get some damage on him, but the main threat is the guy on height, so I built a full box and I saw that zone pulled pretty far, so I decided, okay, I'm gonna hammer again. During the hammer rotate, I ended up getting a free shot and an easy kill on this guy. And when I land, I know that the guy is directly above me, like literally directly above me. So I hammer straight up and it breaks him down. So I'm kind of just chilling on high for the moment, but I'm thinking in my head, okay, he's definitely gonna hammer. So I drop to low ground so that he can't do the same thing I just did to him. I thought about fighting this guy for height, but I just remembered that both of us have hammers and that I have a ton of mats. I did the same thing again where I hammered directly up and I do get another shot off on him. It's a pretty easy way to get an easy tag. He decides he wants to build up and hold the high ground, so I'm gonna play ultimate low ground. After all, I still have 600 materials. I get fully ahead and now I'm kind of just waiting. During this full tunnel, I heard this guy hammer and I heard him pull his glider because he has the aerialist augment. And I knew since I wasn't built up very high that he only had one of two places he could have landed. He could have either landed all the way on low ground or he could have landed right on top of my builds. And since I know that this guy was trying to play height before, I pretty much predict that he's gonna land on top of my box, which was the easiest piece control of my life. I missed the cone. Unfortunately, it would have been a lot cleaner, but nonetheless, I was still able to do it just as effectively and get the kill for the win. The main thing that I want you to take away from that win was how I rotated. I wasn't just hammering ahead at random times. I was waiting for the storm to touch me, and then I would hammer all the way to the front of the zone. And at the very end, he made the bad choice of redeploying his glider, allowing me to piece him up, and from there, it was just down to my aim again. In this third win, as you can see, I'm sitting on height and I'm pressuring the guy on low ground. It's a 1v1. Again, I'm waiting on that storm to touch me, and then I'm hammering ahead. That way, I can be ahead of him, and I can pinch him between me and the storm. So I built up another layer just so I can keep that high ground, and I'm just looking for a window to shoot him through potentially where he leaves himself open. Whenever you're in this situation with only one person left and you hear them hammer, just hold your pump out because you'll get the easiest damage. I hit this guy for 145 mid-air. So what I start to do is building floor cones all above him. That way I can look for some drop down piece control. Right at the end here, I end up fully boxing him. I shouldn't have dropped all the way down into his box. I should have just stayed up and then shot from above, but either way, it still ended up getting me the win. You can set yourself up to have height in the final 1v1. That is the easiest way to win the match, is wait for them to hammer, deal some damage, and then fully piece control. Right here in game number 4, again, I'm on the high ground and I'm building ahead and I'm looking for an angle to see if I can spot this guy. When I get all the way ahead, I notice that he built stairs up to where I am. When I notice that he's trying to sneak play for height, I basically just hold my pump out and go for this pre-fire. So since I cracked his shield, I decided that I was going to hammer all the way to the front of zone, even if it meant letting him have the high ground, because I have a mythic pistol. I can just spray at him endlessly. I ended up chopping him out, hitting him on his way down, and I know that this guy is so weak. I'm just going to constantly pressure him. He ends up dropping down, so I hammer again, and on my way down, I hit a pump shot, I hit my pistol shots, and he has nothing he can do because I already dealt so much damage to him. For the last clip of this video, I decided to make it something pretty special. I decided to do it a little bit more than just the final 1v1, and I'm going to show you guys this late game. Pretty sure there's like 5 people alive. I'm just chilling in this box, and I'm waiting to get a good moment to hammer ahead. As soon as I do, I actually break out a ton of builds and get 2 easy kills. Literally just killed them to fall damage. The hammer is broken. So in this final 1v1 against this guy, I know that it's very unlikely that he has max HP, so I'm just trying to constantly apply pressure with my SMG. Eventually the storm catches up to me, so I do that thing again where I just hammer all the way to the front of zone. Get a nice shot on this guy in midair, and I did the same thing as the other match where I pinched him between myself and the storm. He's forced the hammer, and I show off some of the best aim. So now that you guys have watched the entire video, I really do hope that there were a bunch of tips throughout that you think you could take with you into your next matches and try to practice. That way you can implement some of these things into your game and get you one step closer to reaching that pro level. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to drop a like on this video if you learned something new or if you just enjoyed it. If you want to see another one of my videos, it's on the screen now. That would absolutely mean the world to me. And as always, guys, I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you in the very next video. Peace.